Good day, everyone. It's Trix here, and this is the FloopCast. The FloopCast is going to be something that I do occasionally, where I will talk about a lot of things in a video. So this could be 5 minutes long, it could be 15 minutes long. It just depends on how much news I have for that specific time. So let's get started then. Alright, so there is quite a bit to go through, but a lot of it is GW related. Some things are not GW related, or Games Workshop related. Some other things are, well, they're just basically games related, so TTRPG, stuff like that. The first thing I want to talk about is, well, as some of you may not have noticed, over the weekend we had Old Bayloy, which was this sort of cartoon animated feature that was available for free on Warhammer Plus. Now, I didn't watch it because I wasn't interested in any animation stuff that they were doing. I know it was free and everything, however, I'm not sure that I want to see that type of thing animated. It's not because I'm afraid of gore or anything, or violence or anything like that. It's just that, I don't know, the way that they reacted to a lot of fan creators wasn't cool. And, well, I don't want to, I just want to stay away from that argument, to be honest. So, that's it, basically. Moving on from that, we'll look at the Bandai Space Marine Captain that was sort of released on their website and in a few other places. I believe you can get him as well. It is a rather large figure. Now, Bandai figures do tend to be a lot more, those kind of collectibles from Japan, those articulated figures, and the ones, I think it's 1/6 or 1/4. I'm not 100% on the exact scale of the Space Marine Captain. He had quite a big price tag, which seemed to shock a lot of people, but if you are aware of certain anime stuff, it's not really that expensive, but it probably is to someone who probably would buy, I don't know, £30 kit of 10 models or something. So that's probably why a lot of people were shocked by it. Moving on from that, I want to talk about the article that they released today. We Rate Griffins. Right at the end of the article, they mentioned that they wanted to release both the Stormcast book and the Uruk book this month, and they've only included it as a throwaway line in an article that it's going to come in September instead of August. I'll ignore the rest of the article because it's just a meme article, really. Moving on from that, what else did we have over the week? We had the Nurgling plushies and the preview of the Griffin plushie, which is basically Archibald from Mortal Realms, which is the sort of comic they have on their website. There is also a giant Nurgling plushie in Tottenham Court Road in London on the 28th of August. You'll be able to see him. It's quite big from the picture that they put up. I've put up a copy of said picture right now. But yeah, that's it. There was also an argument about it's behind for some reason. I don't know why, but there we go. I've put the previews of the plushies on there. It's not something I really care about, to be honest, so I just wanted to report it because it was out there. Okay, on from that, Australia and New Zealand seem to be going through some issues recently because of certain situation in the world, but it does say that they're reopening the stores there, so you'll be able to get your Kill Team boxes, apparently, just in time. Now, I did a video about Kill Team, which you can watch here. I looked at some of the rules that someone was very kindly able to share with me, and a lot of people didn't like that. Some people did like it, but I don't think it's a good idea to say Games Workshop is great in all things when they're not. They have issues with their rules. They've always had issues with their rules. From 1st to, 9th edition 40k, from 1st edition Warhammer to Age of Sigmar 3.0, there are problems with the rules. Now, I'm not a type of player who metagames or breaks rules in order to be cheesy, but I do look at them as someone who used to play a lot, and I look at Necromunda, and I probably will look at either Blood Bowl, or I will look at some of their old game systems, such as Man of War, and I'll go through the rules and stuff, and I'll talk about them, because there's not so many people doing videos about Man of War or BF Battlefleet Gothic. So I'll look at some of the old rules for those, and I'll just make some commentary on them, because I don't see many channels doing that. Now, my channel tends to get a lot of views on the Necromunda stuff, so let's talk about the Necromunda preview that we had last Monday, sorry. What was the preview? It was about House Grime. House Grime are the noble house that is allied with the beefy boys, of course, and beefy girls, of course, the Goliaths. Now, the Goliaths are a rather interesting game, because they've got a rather cool selection of weapons. My favourite is the stub cannons, and with their knockback, I really love those. So yeah, but we'll just talk about the Goliath in another video, so don't worry about that. So we're looking at the Kriegmaster. Now, the Kriegmaster seems to be some sort of like Imperial officer in some respects, but maybe he's just like a very low-ranking noble that's decided to go down into the Underhive and help out the gangs that support them with their nefarious acts. Of course, he's accompanied by the best model that I've seen in a long time, the Jaggerkin. The Jaggerkin is, of course, a homage to the Necromunda Spiders Regiment. It is painted in the same, please see the picture here, as the old spiders were in some artwork and some pictures from, I believe it was either the first or second edition. I love the helmet. It reminds me a lot of Judge Dredd, but it is very flavourful to the Necromunda Spiders regiments that were from the Necromunda planet in first or second edition. I'm not too keen on the shoulder pad paintwork here, but of course that's something that you could probably fix by yourself. As I want to say, this is one of the best female models. It's a very powerful looking female model. I like the scars, the way that she's holding the shotgun and the helmet. It's a lovely model. So yes, there we go. I just wanted to say that's a good one. We've had some kind of lame stuff recently with the dragons. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. But of course, Necromunda is done by a different studio, isn't it? Moving on from that, we have the Black Templars Codex cover art. Do you notice something about this cover art? Where is this person's torso? He must have a giant neck, but there we go. Can't believe GW paid for that. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about some of the hints that we've got going into the future. Now, this bit of information has been going around on the internet for some time, and in some respects, a lot of other channels have done it, but I wanted to bring my thoughts on it. Now, the Black Templar stuff is pretty much guaranteed. Now, I have heard that on the vehicle sprue that has been mentioned for the Black Templars, there is a big sword that you can use for a Redemptor Dreadnought. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So this is my first time using this source for the sword piece of information, but they said that it is a big sword that you can use with a Redemptor Dreadnought. So that will be cool if it was true. I don't know if it is. It is highly speculative at this time, so please take it with some salt. Moving on from that, there was some other news that they listed. Now, they said that Chaos was going to get a massive update with some Renegade Guard, with some cultists, with some mutated brute type creatures, in between a possessed and a greater possessed model, but they were basically mutants dialed up to 11. I don't know if those are true. There is also going to be a mutant banner bearer, or a cultist banner bearer, and or icon bearer, and some sort of character with bodyguards. Whether those are true, I do not know. I can't get any more than anyone else has on that at the time. Okay, from that we'll go on and look at some of the other things that were hinted at. World Eaters, this has been on the cards for a long time. Now, I have heard that Agron won't be back in the World Eaters Codex. I don't know why. Nobody would give me information why he's not back with the World Eaters Codex when we've got Mortarion and, of course, we've got Magnus for the Thousand Suns. But apparently he's not going to be joining them for some reason now. I don't know why. Again, sorry about that. But there we go. From there, I have heard that Eldar are going to get quite a large update, but not all the kits are going to be done. The kits that aren't going to be done, I highly suspect, are the Guardians, some of the Aspect Warriors that have new kits or newish kits, and the Grav Tank. I believe the Grav Tank is not going to be done, as well as the bikes and a couple of other ones, such as the War Walker and stuff like that. So, but I also hear that not all the resin kits are going to go away for Eldar or Craft World Eldar. Okay. Lastly, I want to talk about the last hint, or one of the last hints that were given. Squats. Squats were a Space Dwarf race that Warhammer 40,000 has tried to do away with. Now, there's been hints of them in Necromunda. We've got 2 or 3 models in Necromunda. We have them now. Do I think they're coming back? Probably not. Squats had a lot of issues, namely the name. That sounded daft. There was also that they didn't know what to do with them. There were some sculpts that were made for 3rd edition for Warhammer 40,000, but they were never used. They were released by some people later who had copies of them, and there's a few recasts of them going around. So, for anything else, they're basically collector's pieces. They're not really going to be anything else than that. I can't see them returning, not unless they make Demiurge an actuality. Last bit of news 40k related is the Tau Codex in January January 2022, sorry. Because January 2021 is this year, isn't it? It's gone by quite fast because of everything going on. There's only going to be a new kit in Darkstrider. Darkstrider was a character, I think, that was a Pathfinder. So we've got a new character, Pathfinder type dealy, for Tau, and just a Codex release, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. So that's all the news that I have GW related. Limbo Division 209 released their Space Spear people last weekend, and there's some pictures of them here. Should be interesting to see what they're like. They've got some previews here, but of course these previews, especially with these companies like Kingdom Death and that, unlike this one, I believe they're a little different in actuality, so we'll see what we see in those. Moving on from that. Yeah, that's all the news that I have, game related, really. There have been some developments in a game that I've been given access to, but because they've given me so much information and it's not in a like shiny state of rulebook, it's just pieces are everywhere. It requires me to kind of coalesce it and look at it a bit differently, so that will be coming hopefully either this week or next week. So yeah, once I've coalesced the data and tried to present it in another way. Weird Wasteland had an update, which was cool. So they've previewed a bit of their psionics rules, which is interesting because I like psionics. It's always one of those things that are hard to get right or fit in with a magic system, because often psionics is just basically using the same stats, or it uses life force or your hit points to generate abilities. It's a bit weird, so how different systems do it, so it'll be interesting in how Weird Wasteland does that system. That's really all I have from TTRPG news. Yeah, so that's it really, everyone. Thank you all for joining me on the very first FloopCast. Do take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.